Welcome to the Gospel Road. We're going to look at Matthew 18. Here we go. All right, it says, At that time, the disciples came to Jesus saying, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" And calling him a child, he put him in the midst of them and said, "Truly, I say to you, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Whoever receives one such child in my name receives me. Whoever causes one of these little ones who believes in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and be drowned in the depth of the sea. Woe is to the world for temptation to sin, for it is necessary that temptation come. But woe to the one whom the temptation comes. And if your hand or your foot causes you to sin, cut it off, throw it away. It is better for you to enter life crippled or lame than with 2 hands or 2 feet to be thrown into the eternal flames. And if your eye causes you to sin, tear it out, throw it away. It is better for you to enter life with 1 eye than with 2 eyes to be thrown into the hell of fire. See that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you, that in heaven their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven. What do you think? If a man has 100 sheep and one of them has gone astray, does he leave the 99 on the mountain and go in search of the one that went astray? And if he finds it, truly I say to you, he rejoices over it more than over the 99 that never went astray. So it is not the will of my Father who is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. If your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have gained your brother. But if he does not listen, take 1 or 2 others along with you, that every charge may be established by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. If he refuses to listen to them, then tell it to the church. And if he refuses to listen to the church, let him be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector. Truly, I say to you, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Again, I say to you, if 2 of you agree on earth about anything they ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I among them. Then Peter came up and said to him, Lord, how often will my brother sin against me and I forgive him? As many as 7 times. Jesus said to him, I do not say to you 7 times, but 77 times. Therefore, the kingdom of heaven must be compared to a king who wished to settle accounts with his servants. When he began to settle, one was brought to him who owed him 10,000 talents. And since he could not pay, his master ordered him to be sold, and his wife and children and all that he had in payment be made. So the servant fell on his knees, imploring him, have patience with me, and I will pay you everything. And out of pity for him, the master of that servant released him and forgave him of the debt. But when that servant went out, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii, and seizing him and began to choke him, saying, pay what you owe me. So his fellow servant fell down and pleaded with him, have patience with me and I will pay you. He refused and went and put him in prison until he should pay the debt. When his fellow servants saw what had taken place, they were greatly distressed, and they went and reported to their master all that had taken place. Then his master summoned him and said to him, you wicked servants, I forgave you all the debt because you pleaded with me. And should not you have had mercy on your fellow servant as I had mercy on you? And in anger, his master delivered him to the jailers until he should pay all his debt. So also my heavenly Father will do to every one of you if you do not forgive your brother from your heart. Matthew 18 is what we were looking at today. And, the big piece of this forgiveness, you know, Jesus being among us, being humble, being kind, treating each other well. By the way, second show of the new year. Forgot to say Happy New Year last year. Brain was kind of like in a frizzle. Still kind of in a frizzle. Been a crazy week, well, 2 week, week and a half, I guess, into the new year, and we just had the big storm blow through here yesterday, seeing some melting and sitting in the office, and I keep hearing the ice fall from the top of the building going to the floor. I would not want to be standing underneath those when it hit the ground from 25 stories up. That'd be crazy. Matthew 18. Where do you stand? Where do you forgive one another? How do you do your best to get along? How do you show kindness? They always talk about the new year and our way of being better and doing good, the resolutions that you have. I'm going to do this in the new year. You're going to read more books. You're going to spend more time, evaluating things, maybe a little more meditation, whatever it is, spending more time in the Bible, more time with devotions because you've not done the best, more time with your family, more time with friends, maybe trying to take more of a break. That's one that I heard from a friend of mine that they're wanting to, make sure they're getting their breaks in this year because they're really good at kind of working the candle at both ends, which I know I've been there. Kind of got away from it a little bit, but then back into it, kind of back into it now with work and home and, other things that I'm trying to help with and deal with. But we have to sit there and think about what are we doing? What are we going to do different this year than what we did last year? We've always heard the statement many times over. The definition of sanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. In my new position, kind of follows the same thing. This is what you've been doing for so long. How well was that working for you? And maybe at one point it did, and now it's not anymore. So now how do we change that and move forward so we're getting different results? Or are we going to just keep sitting here spinning our wheels, not really knowing where we're going to go? These are real important things that we need to think about. Real important things to think about how we're treating others. I actually saw an email come through last week. It was a chamber in a different area, and it's a leap year. So they're saying take a leap of kindness on February 29th. That'd be like you're paying it forward day. It's actually a great idea. And they sent some things to post and share about that. I think that's something we should maybe look at doing. Being that leap year, that leap day, taking that leap of kindness in 24, right? Being better. Now, this is going to be a hard year, especially for us here in the States and in America and the USA, because it is election year, which means this is going to be an annoying year. Commercials and people fighting and griping. And in fact, we're already seeing that. We're getting ready for the caucuses here in Iowa, which happen next week. So I've been getting phone calls from different news outlets having conversations about economic impact and things like that. The big thing is we deal with this and it comes around every 4 years. And now it honestly, over the last 4 years, it feels like we never really got through it because we've been seeing so much in the news. Many are pretty annoyed with it before it even started. And there was some annoyances even before that because it's just getting so out of hand. People are not having conversations or discussions. It's really my way or the highway. And I don't care what side of the fence that you're sitting on. That is your attitude. You're not going to listen. You're not going to have a conversation because they do not agree with you, so they're bad. And you're going to argue, not debate. I have many friends that we see eye to eye on so many different levels, but there are some that we do not 100% agree on. And that's one thing that I remember over the years talking with different people, and that is finding where you agree, right? Where do you actually mesh? Where do you come together? Quit looking at your differences when you're talking with somebody else, but look at your likenesses. Share kindness. Show kindness. We're not all going to agree on everything 100% of the time. In fact, sometimes if you find someone that you agree 100% of the time, that turns into a completely different issue. But this is how we have to think about how we are treating those around us. It talks about in Matthew of being a child, being childlike to get into heaven, to, whatever you're looking for, whenever you're gathered together, fellow Christ-like Christian, that Jesus is there in the midst of you. Also, forgiving, like the master and the servant, where the master forgave the servant of what he owed, but then he turned around and would not forgive someone that was much less that they owed. Is that how you treat things? You're getting the grace, but you're not sharing that grace and mercy with everyone else. I mean, I know I have to live my life every day through grace and mercy because I fail in many ways. I am not perfect. I'm not going to be perfect. Sorry, it's the way it is. But I do the best I can to strive to be the best I can. And again, remember, I've said this, doing your best sometimes is just, or being your best sometimes is just doing your best, right? Things are going to fall through the cracks. It happens. You're going to fall. You're going to trip. There's going to be obstacles. That's life. No one said life was easy. I mean, we're seeing all those obstacles right now with the snow that we ended up getting yesterday. I know some places ended up getting more than we did, some up about 10 inches. I know some around 6, some less. But either way, it turns into being a obstacle to get around. Someone I know, they go to work, takes them 10 minutes, took them 30 minutes yesterday. Next week, of course, the frigid temperatures are going to be coming in just in time for the caucuses. So all those media and campaigners that are coming in from warmer parts of the country, they'll probably forget to bring warm enough clothes and have to buy some warmer clothes while they're here because we'll be in those below zero temperatures. And man, it'll be crazy. Somebody was telling me the other day in our area here in the Midwest, it was actually warmer in winter in Alaska last year than what it was here. How insane is that? Think about that. Leap year of kindness, February 29th. Yeah. About a month and a half away. What can you do? I mean, but the thing is, we should be doing that every day. In fact, last night I was at home and I watched 3 Christmas movies. A friend of mine said, "Well, Christmas is over. You can't watch them." I'm like, I recorded them and hadn't watched them yet, so I'm doing it. There were these really weird things on Hallmark, the Home for Christmas series. I mean, it was funny. And I didn't even know until someone else shared with me. I think it was a TikTok video about that. And it was, time for me to come home for Christmas, time for you to come home for Christmas, time for us to come home for Christmas, time for them to come home for Christmas, time for him to come home for Christmas, time for her to come home for Christmas. I think they're all based on Blake Shelton's Time for Me to Come Home for Christmas, because every movie I've watched, that song was tied to it and somebody was singing it in different ways. But again, it's, we always talk about the Christmas miracle. We always talk about the Christmas cheer. We talk about the kindness being there. And are we doing that, or are we living our lives that way every day? I mean, it's not that Christmas is every day of the year, but we should live like Christmas is every day of the year, showing that kindness, showing that love, that charity to one another. We have many holidays throughout the year that help with that. Christmas being the biggest focus, Thanksgiving, Veterans Day, thankful for our veterans, Memorial Day, remembering those that we've lost for the freedom that we have in the USA. And many other countries have those freedom days too, the people that have lost their lives, that they've lost for what they have accomplished in their countries. But again, it's being kind, being charitable every day. And charitable doesn't always need to be money. Not everybody has the money for that, but it's just sharing that smile, opening the door, being kind to someone. I've seen this before and I've shared it before. You have no idea what a person is going through that you're meeting that day. So be nice, be kind. We hear that a lot around here being in Iowa, the Iowa nice, but then you go to other states and you hear about Minnesota nice, and I think I even heard about a Nebraska nice. Funny, a lot of friends, they say the Iowa nice is, yeah, maybe not as nice as what they feel, but it can be. But it's yeah, of course, I'm losing the word right now. That's the way it always works. Oh well. Matthew 18. How does that help you? How does it help you to be that better person? How does it help you to be nice? That leap year of kindness. Right? Try and maybe put that into your repertoire, right? Not, you know, being that person that you're trying to be nice, but it doesn't always come off that way. Of course, I get told that a lot for me. I mean, I'm not the most gracious when I walk around. I am what I am. And that's all that I am because I'm Popeye the Sailor Man, right? Yeah, no, I don't have the tattoos or the big arms or eat that much spinach. But it's what we do in our lives and how we treat others. That's really where our character comes from. It is crazy to think about that. Huh. The big thing that we see here in, like if you go to the East Coast, people are very blunt and to the point. If you ask somebody to go, they're going to say no. You ask someone if they're going to come to something in the Midwest and they're going to say yes and then possibly not show up. You go to other areas, I think the West Coast is more, they might, so it'll be a maybe. Here, they just don't want to, you know, say no. They don't want to say maybe. They just want to say yes. Iowa passive aggressive, that was the word that I was looking for. A lot of times you see that a lot around here, and we see that a lot around many places of people being passive aggressive. So maybe they're trying to be nice, but with that nice, they're also getting back and getting through and doing things to people, which that's not a nice way to be either. Maybe your word, are you a person that does a word for the year? Maybe your word should be kind, kindness, your leap year of kindness. Remember that, February 29th, that day. But then try and do it every day. Be kind every day, right? Matthew 18. That is what we looked at today. Again, read it. How does it help you be that better person, being the best that you can be? If you enjoyed this, be sure to share it on social media. In fact, you can find me on social media, pretty much any platform you can find. Just always look up My Buddy Jimmy, and it's going to be there. All the words that I share as well, when I do my words of the day, the videos, and just the words that I share. And maybe you're, learning and that's helping you. Now you're trying to impress. I used to be one that used big words just because. I don't know why. Now my brain doesn't work that quick anymore. So, like I said, it took me how long just to remember passive aggressive? You gotta love getting old, don't you? Kind of is what it is. It's part of life. Death and taxes. In many countries, those are your only promises. Probably all countries. I'm sure everyone somehow has some sort of tax and being involved. I mean, heck, we know this even goes back. I mean, heck, he was talking about tax collectors in Matthew 18. They were talking about, the census to figure out your taxes during Christmas when, Jesus was going to be born. Well, in the holiday that we look at it, because if you really go back, it all happened in the spring, both his birth and his death. I think the separation of us is because you can't really sell them both. I mean, you probably could, but that'd make them pretty quick right on top of one another. That's just why we have the, you know, was it that about a 5 month separation between December and April? I think I read something years ago that they said the birth was actually in March or something like that. I don't know. Who knows? See, these are petty little things that people get all up in arms about. We don't need to. It's not that big a deal. It's how you live your life and what you do every day. You can always find me at mybuddyjimmy.com as well, where I share a lot of the stuff on my website. And like I said, all the social media outlets out there that you can pretty much think of and find. I can't remember probably half of them that I'm on, but there's always the big ones with X and Facebook and TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Yeah. trying to get other things, balls rolling. I'm getting better. Things are, getting a lot better than what they were. I'm kind of maybe getting into a routine. I say that and then something's going to blow up in my face because, that's the way the world goes. Matthew 18, how does that help you be that better person? How does that help you show and share kindness in 2024? How does it do that? All right. Again, hope you're having a great start to the new year. And I hope you have a great year. You can always, share some comments where you see this as well. I always appreciate them. And like I said, I get very, I'm very surprised with the likes and comments and shares that I get of a lot of the things that I do on social media and around, which is kind of fun. But yeah, Matthew 18. How does it help you be that better person in 24? How about be that kinder person in 2024, right? There you go. Thank you for listening to The Gospel Road. Have a great day. God bless.
Spinal adjustments provided by Dr. Chad Rolfson. The Spinal Tuning Chiropractic Center is a Des Moines area low flat fee per month unlimited chiropractic care practice. When life happens, just adjust. Schedule today at spinaltuning.com.
If you're looking for help with software, app, web development, be sure to check out my friends at ingenuitycompany.com. They believe in their clients. Software development, app development, web development, visioning, design thinking, diagramming, organizational development, strategy. They can help you at the Ingenuity Company. Find out more at ingenuitycompany.com.
The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.